Hello everybody, this is Yoko's Anime Reactions, and let us get to some more book reading. Where did I get to? Shoot. Anyway. Beelzebub points at himself, looking perplexed. Claude, who's being energized from his chair, sits down again. I was only going to send you home in the usual way. Oh, I think I possibly finished. Okay, no, Master Claude. Being carried by Beelzebub and returning home by air is far removed from the ordinary. Our people will positively faint. Very well, I'll take that into consideration, so put down the sword. I have little desire for such theatrics. You're a kind man. Eileen lowers her sword as she flashes a smile at Claude, whose face is still expressionless. Keith puts a hand to his chin. Her reputation is unflattering, but the young lady has spine. The D'Altrices are a great noble house, too. This chance may be too good to waste. Keith, enough idle talk. In any case, I refuse your request. Go home. Still smiling, Eileen claps her hands together lightly. I'll take my leave if you agree to my proposal. Simple, isn't it? As I said before, I don't understand what sense that makes. We've only just met. Oh, God. This is getting so weird. It's one thing seeing it in the show. We've only just met. Why do you want to marry me? Although his expression doesn't change, Claude falters. Eileen blinks. It felt as though a light breeze is blowing inside the room. Oh no. It's so freaking awkward in the show. Do you love me? Well, no. When she answers his hesitant question with a blank look on her face, a strong gust of wind kicks up, also indoors. Keith hurries to soothe Claude. Master Claude, calm down. No whirlwinds, please. Then what on earth is this about? My king, I sympathize completely. I mean, we only just met. Yes, and that was the moment you decided to propose marriage. Besides, Cedric only just ended your engagement. What possessed you to do something so brazen right after? The wind dies down immediately. It's probably because Eileen has pointed the sword directly at Master Claude's nose, which brought him to his senses. Though there's a sword trained on their master, both Beelzebub and Keith looked unconcerned. That's only natural. If Claude got serious, he could turn Eileen to charcoal in an instant. Yes, he could. He definitely could have used that to anybody. Even so, her pride compels her to speak. No doubt some of the fault lies with me. I admit that. However, are you saying I should simply accept my lot and spend the rest of my life weeping? Don't make me laugh. I have no intention of wasting another second on scum like him. Hang on, let me fix my sleeves. Scum? That's quite harsh. Yes, women accrue love over time. I have decided that this is so awkward to say. That I will love you. Come on, let's... I am so weirded out by this. Why? Come, let us posture our affection at sword point? Claude's eyes are cold, and Eileen directs her most beautiful smile at him. They say if you keep declaring that you are in love, it will eventually become truth. Shall we test that theory out? I doubt not. See. Responding in a completely flat voice, Claude extends a hand. In spite of herself, Eileen hugs the sword to her chest. Gently with his long fingers, he lifts a lock of hair that's fallen across her shoulders. He scrutinizes it suspiciously with his red eyes. In other words, you've come to deduce the Demon King. Her cheeks flush. She's not accustomed to matters of love and men. In her previous life, Atome games were her friend, and in this life, while she did have a fiancé, she had been raised as a sheltered noble lady, and tragically few moments of romance had actually passed between her and Cedric. Cedric. Whatever! However you pronounce the stupid name. Nonetheless, she can't afford to show weakness by being flustered now. Still feeling timid, she forces herself to flaunt a brave smile at that lovely expressionless face. Yes, I suppose that's what you'd call it. Your voice seems to be trembling. Is that my imagination? Oh, no, he's catching on. He's catching on, girl. Oh my god, this is gonna be so awkward when he starts turning on the charm. Oh my god, it's gonna be so weird to read. It's a good thing I don't have a camera on me, or else you guys see me blushing. It most certainly is. Hang on. You don't seem familiar enough with men to seduce one. Just who do you think I am? I am a veteran seductress. I could seduce a man before breakfast. Girl, don't be lying. I think you can tell. She made the declaration firmly, but Claude's face is still empty. He only looks her over, examining her from the crown of her head to the tips of her toes. Her makeup and clothes ought to be flawless as always. Since she'd intended to venture to the Demon King's castle, she didn't go all out, but she assures herself that her appearance is nothing a duke's daughter would need to be ashamed of. Still, for some reason, she suddenly feels embarrassed, and she stirs slightly. Having someone this gorgeous right in front of me makes me nervous. Oh, my hair is all messed? Yeah, considering, what happened earlier. Belatedly, she noticed. Her shoes are muddy. The lace on her dress apparently caught on something and frayed. On the whole, she's rather shabby. She charged straight through the woods, so it's only to be expected. Even so, this is a dire situation. After all, in this era, being impeccably dressed is a woman's battle attire and her means of defense. I apologize for my unseemly appearance, especially when I've come to propose. I'll call again another day. There's no need. Claude snaps his fingers. Eileen braces herself for a demon to appear, but a gentle breeze billows up from beneath her feet and swirls around her, scattering motes of light. The mud vanishes from her shoes, the frayed lace weaves itself back together, and the fabric that tore when it got caught on some branches is mended, then made clean again. Her disheveled hair is swept back by the wind as if being carefully combed out, and her fatigue listens slightly. It's magic. As Eileen blinks in surprise, Claude speaks to her brusquely. Now you won't need to come back. Go home. I'll treasure this out. Well, I don't think it's a magical outfit. What? I mean, it's an enchanted dress. That's marvelous. She twirls around, eyes sparkling, flaring out the dress she usually wears when she wants to travel unnoticed. At the same time, the bud of one of the flowers in a vase on the shelf opens. Is that magic as well? She watches the vase closely, her eyes shining, but that bud is the only one to open, and there are no further changes. Maybe you're getting to him. 'Cause, I mean, the guy can control the weather. Surely this would affect the flowers as well. Like, if he was upset or depressed, the plants would start dying, right? It seems strange, and Eileen turns to the expressionless Claude. Did that flower just bloom by magic as well? Claude didn't answer. From behind him, off to the side, Keith gives a significant smile. The presence of a lady really does brighten the room, doesn't it? I'm worried that being surrounded by nothing but demons had warped your, common sense and eye for beauty, Master Claude. Oh yes, that reminds me. Regarding those crows on the way here. I keep telling you to go home. Are you hard of hearing? I've heard you loud and clear. I'm simply refusing to go along. Now, about those crows. They are your servants, aren't they, Master Claude? Eileen draws herself up to her full height and stands firm as she faces down Claude, who's wearing an indefinable expression. It's all very well for them to warn those who enter the forest, but mocking visitors is in rather poor taste. The behavior of your vassals reflects on you, Master Claude. Do teach them to refrain from slander based on crude rumor. And why should I listen to anything you have to say? Because it would be embarrassing for me to have a fiancé lacking in decorum. I don't recall becoming your fiancé. In addition, Master Beelzebub, your attire is shameless. Utterly— oh god, you're insulting the freaking demon who could kill you. Undignified. Beelzebub blinks in surprise and Keith bursts out laughing, hugging his sides. Of course he's gonna laugh. At least Keith that knows how to dress and all that. He doesn't have to worry about getting insulted. The only article of clothing Beelzebub wears above the waist is a long vest. He shows a lot of skin as it's dressed in the style of the East. When she saw his character design, she didn't think much of it, but by the customs of this country, intentionally exposing your skin is an outrageous thing to do. Moreover, it's midwinter. She feels cold just looking at him. I'll have something appropriate tailored for you. We'll also need to teach you proper etiquette. Wait, human girl, why the hell would I do anything like that? You are Master Claude's right-hand man, correct? Demon or not, you'll need to be proper enough to make public appearances. Right-hand man, you say? Well, yeah, I would assume so. Beelzebub's voice seems rather excited. He'll be easy to manipulate. Really, girl? I swear. Either my eyes are getting worse. I hope my eyesight's not getting worse. I just need new glasses, I hope. It's just a little harder to read it. As for you, Master Keith, you seem to have been making do with the same clothes for quite some time. Taking good care of your possessions is a fine thing, but we can't have you looking shabby in court. Do you have anything you could wear to social functions? Oh, well, I had something tailored a few years ago. The thing is, Lady Eileen, and you won't believe it. While I'm technically a high official, I've sided too firmly with Master Claude, and so my wages are 0. Even though there are payments listed in the official books. Does that seem right to you? Goodness. Are his wages being embezzled? Eileen wonders as she frowns, falling deeper into thought. I'm beginning to understand the situation. I take it Master Claude has no money either. Oh, that's not good. Even if he is the ex-crown prince, they should still have given him money to be able to, buy food and stuff. Abruptly, yeah, I think this is, dependent on his feelings. Abruptly, the flowers in the vase all drop their petals at once. When the 2 attendants notice this, they react swiftly. Master Claude, you don't have to let that trouble you. I enjoy life quite enough as it is. My king, if you desire money, I'll go steal some for you. Just say the word. Silence, both of you. Do you see now? There is no value in marrying me. Good heavens, don't worry about something so trivial. I'm quite reliable enough to provide for you, Master Claude. Why, if you'd like, I could even keep you in... Why did you say that? That's just rude. I could even keep you in your demon form as a pet. That is rude. Don't demean him like that. See? Instantly, lightning strikes just outside the window. At this point, Eileen isn't even startled. She simply laughs with an idle, my word. Claude, whose face is still blank, groans. What brought that on? Didn't you come here to seduce me? That sort of thing suits me better. Keep the final boss as a pet. Wouldn't that be a nice development? Eileen smiles, terribly pleased with the idea. No, girls, don't. Don't. Claude looks back at her oh, yeah, you definitely undid whatever you did. Looks back at her frostily. The fact that you don't understand that seduction would be preferable shows your sensibilities are questionable. I'll take that as a compliment. In any case, I hope you'll enter a contract by marrying me. With nothing more than your agreement, you will all be guaranteed lives of comfort and fortune. Wow, she sounds like a new type of missionary. Master Claude, all I ask in return, that's easier said than done, lady, considering what he's gone through, is your love. Thanks to a certain piece of human scum, I've been shown just how demanding a request that is. Claude looks up. While it's faint, there seems to be some emotion in his face now. Thinking that if she can only make him agree, she's won, Eileen presses him. You are a kind man. Surely you do not hate humans wholeheartedly. As a result, the demons feel rather stifled, which in turn pains you. Am I wrong? Silence. Personally, I hope those who wronged me get devoured by demons. However, if you wished for that, it would actually happen. How heavy that responsibility must be, and how conflicted you must feel. And yet, here you are, resisting that very temptation. I respect your strength. For the first time, Claude's confusion shows in his face. He widens his eyes. In them, Eileen's reflection wears a devilish smile. If you marry me, I will protect both you and the demons you cherish. I won't make you bear that burden alone. I may not look it, but I would have been empress one day. I do understand those things. Ah, okay, so I see what she's getting at. Abruptly, Claude's face goes blank again. It's as if he snuffed out his emotions. Eileen blinks, and then his lovely face is right in front of her. Whoa! Yay, back away, back away. Enough. Leave. They aren't words, but a spell. He taps her on the forehead with his index finger. She totters, her body rises lightly, and in the next moment, her knees buckle, dropping her onto something soft. He got you out of there. He teleported you out. She's sitting on her bed. Her bedroom has abruptly materialized around her, and she blinks it repeatedly, feeling bitter regret. He forcibly magicked her back home. Yep, he pulled one over on you. Yeah, he pulled one over on me. Was I close to convincing him? Or did I make a mistake somewhere? I would say you probably made a couple mistakes. Mainly by saying him as a pet. Because, yeah, that's kind of demeaning, even for demons. Claude's reactions were hard to pin down. She thought he seemed detached at first, but then he'd been clearly agitated for a moment, only to quickly regain his calm. Through all that, he didn't smile even once, so why would he smile considering what was going on in front of him? Squinting at the morning sun that laces through the gap in her white curtains, Eileen broods. Perhaps I shouldn't have made it sound quite so much like a threat. I guess it's true that no heroine would have talked that way. However, if I'm not misremembering, being teleported away was something that only happened after he became quite fond of you. When Claude, frightened by his growing attraction to the heroine, decided to put some distance between them, he'd use teleportation to make it happen physically. I don't know. Considering this is supposed to be the World of an Atoma game, I would assume that your presence and what you're doing might disrupt things and make things go differently. Because, I mean, the same thing happens in Trapped in a Dating Sim. Eileen wonders if it's safe to deduce from his actions that this went rather well for their first meeting. I do still have time. Starting tomorrow, perhaps I should try being less aggressive. Or refine my approach as well. Your pardon, Miss Eileen? Miss Eileen, are you awake? Eileen calls to the maid who's knocked on her bedroom door. I am, what is it? The master said he'd like to speak with you. I said it's high time to get back on your feet already. Come to think of it, she was supposed to have retired to her room from the shock of her broken engagement. Are you serious, Father? It's only been a day. He's the same as ever. When she was only Eileen and didn't remember her past life, his behavior seemed normal to her, but now it feels rather harsh. Ordinarily, if it hadn't been for the shock of regaining the memory from her past life, she wouldn't have been able to recover so quickly. However, there's no helping some things in life. Sighing, Eileen gets up from the bed and opens her bedroom door. Alright, I do hope I haven't caused trouble of any sort. The master's the same as always. However, it does look as though the broken engagement with Prince Cedric has caused some difficulties. I believe that may be what he wants to discuss. I see. Eileen responds shortly as she gathers herself. In that case, I've earned the lecture. Let's get this unpleasantness out of the way quickly. Let me get ready and then... Actually, no. Glancing at her enchanted clothes, Eileen shakes her head. Why does she think they're enchanted just because he fixed them with magic? I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know. The maid looks perplexed. I'll go as I am. Bring my breakfast up later if you would. The remnants of the spell have become a faint breeze that flows past his feet. Dropping heavily into a chair, Claude closes his eyes, pressing his fingers to his stipple. What in blazes was that woman? Oh, you sent her away by force. Don't tell me you left her somewhere preposterous. Of course not. I did as I should and sent her to her own room. Behind his eyelids, he watches the young woman who vanished before him fall into her bed. He can see her muttering something to herself, but he avoids listening. Clairvoyance is handy, but picking up sound puts more strain on him, and more than anything, he's aware that eavesdropping with it is unconscionable. I can't get this one word! Unconscionable. Whatever. Claude opens his eyes. The first thing he sees is Keith pouring him a fresh cup of tea. Okay, this was not in the anime. I certainly hope so. Good grief, things have been lively since last night, haven't they? You didn't have to send her back here personally, my king. I would have flung her out the window towards her mansion for you. That would have killed her, you know. You could kill that woman and she still wouldn't die. He probably has a point. She probably would do that. She probably would come back just to bug you. Beelzebub makes that declaration with a straight face, drawing a droll smile out of Keith. Claude can't claim to disagree, yeah. I suspect she'll be back soon. What should we do, my king? Ignore her until she gets tired of it. I get the feeling you'll make a decision one way or another before the young lady tires of this, Master Claude. Sire, news! The Emperor's messenger comes! A jet black crow is out on the terrace, cawing and flapping their wings. Well, Keith smiles. We're getting so many callers today. Tell the demons to come inside the gate. I'll put up a barrier. At Claude's command, the crow promptly takes to the air, flying away. As he watches them go, Beelzebub steps forward. My king, if you intend to run them off, I'll go. You mustn't do that. Remember the non-aggression pact. If you and your kind get violent, even if it's for the Demon King's sake, it'll mean endless trouble again. Keith rebukes him mockingly, and Beelzebub clicks his tongue in irritation. Humans truly are all imbeciles. We won't do a thing to them unless the king orders it. Come to think of it, Master Claude, why did you let Miss Eileen into the castle? Because she came to see me herself. Given the circumstances, he thought the least he could do was hear what she had to say. That was all. Although it turned out to be nonsense. Oh, but I respect your strength. No, don't let your guard down, not unless you want to finally become a demon. Oh yeah, so he is human, okay. Closing his eyes again, he focuses on expanding his awareness, widening its range to the palisade that encircles his castle and the surrounding forest. No one will reach the castle. He won't allow it. After all, this is the castle of the Demon King. Okay. Rudolf Lauren d'Autriche is famous as the shrewdest prime minister in the Elmire Empire's history. Ugh. However, at a glance, almost no one would have guessed it. At their first meetings, everyone who saw him would undoubtedly say, "What, that mild, unreliable-looking fellow? Ah, Eileen, I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry to ask for you so early. This was the only moment I could spare." Smiling, her father beckons her to enter his study. Eileen sits down on the reception sofa in front of his ebony desk and waits for her father to take a seat opposite her. "It's too bad about Prince Cedric. I'm very sorry, father. Her engagement to Cedric had been a marriage of convenience, a maneuver that influenced political negotiations. It had been an important move intended to further solidify the standing of the d'Autriche duchy. Not only that, but since her father is the prime minister, the scandal over the broken engagement is probably also affecting his work as well. Setting aside the question of whether it will impact this father of mine, there's nothing to be done. After all, you've clearly drifted from Prince Cedric's preference." As he told her this, looking sad, Eileen's expression turns serious. She apologizes one more time. "I really am terribly sorry. Even so, I did hope it might stick on the strength of the d'Autriche's name. I tell you, the love of young people is a force. You yourself always said, Prince Cedric understands me, so it's all right. I'm really, truly, terribly sorry. I actually thought that you would be more inconsolable. I'd heard you withdrawn to your room." Her father sighs. "And yet, you look happier than I expected. That's rather disappointing." There's genuine regret in his voice, and Eileen's cheeks tense up. There it is. He's such a sadist. His daughter's engagement was broken, and he's still... Her kind father has an extremely troublesome predilection for taking delight in watching the misfortunes of others. Family is no exception. In fact, since he lovingly doesn't hide it from his family members, it's worse for them. Oh, so he gets a kick out of seeing people upset. Great. If she told him there was a problem she didn't understand, he'd cheerfully sit there and watch her struggle. If she was chagrined over having lost at something, he'd enjoy analyzing the various reasons for her defeat. Thanks to that, Eileen has grown so resilient that ordinary insults and setbacks don't so much as faze her, but she's developed a terrible, unendearing personality that prefers searching for solutions over crying and fighting rather than getting depressed. Put that way, she starts to think it may very well be her father's fault that Cedric jilted her. And here I was so looking forward every single day to the moment where he would ultimately spurn you. Yep, there we go. That's it. Yeah, Father of the Year award, everybody. Yeah. I don't know if you could detect the sarcasm in my voice. So there was no doubt in your mind that one day I would be spurned. He turned you down so miserably that it nearly beggared belief. Oh, my poor Eileen, in your tear-soaked grief you would surely have been the most adorable creature alive, and yet... You were having a grand old time by fantasizing about that, weren't you? But now look at you, you seem practically cheerful. The servants stopped me earlier, so I gave up, but I knew I should have charged into your room. Giving silent thanks to the outstanding servants, Eileen answers as calmly as she can. I've resolved to forget Master Cedric entirely. I see. Well, that's good. I never dreamed he was that much of a fool. Smiling faintly, Rudolph summarily purges the prince from his mind. His utter lack of hesitation makes even his daughter shudder. Still, Eileen, that doesn't restore your position, nor does it mend the family's wounded honor. I'm aware of that, father. I regret bringing shame on the house of d'Autriche. On to the main topic, then. Smiling, her father laces his fingers together, merrily. In other words, Eileen isn't going to like what's coming next. Great. So if he's happy, then she's not going to like it. She sits up straighter. You were preparing to launch a business, weren't you? As I recall, you had made arrangements for the development and sales of medicines, plus plans for transportation and road improvements so that you could better find a market for them. Yes. My brothers told me that I could secure the raw materials by having them produced on d'Autriche's lands, and that I should develop a distribution route to increase profits. The Diotriche duchy is vast and fertile. However, that abundance is only true when looking at the territory as a whole, and since the duchy is so large, there are regional disparities. Her brothers are of a mind that areas that are not prosperous, in other words, sprawling rural tracts that often contain nothing but dirt, should be developed and improved. They devise various uses for the plants that naturally grow in these areas and are working hard to raise the living standards of the inhabitants by setting up the production of specialty products in these districts. They let Arlene participate in that work. The daughter of a duke, one who was the crown prince's fiancé at that, was personally conducting business and trade. Naturally, there had been criticism. However, they silenced the critics by arguing that the development of medicine would be of great benefit to the masses. They also anticipated turning a tidy profit by popularizing items that were more accessible, such as soaps, salves, and disinfectants, among the townspeople before they began dealing in pharmaceuticals, which were more difficult to handle. As a matter of fact, the finances of Almeyer's imperial family aren't as solid as one might assume. That was why I wanted to at least bring a vast dowry with me when I married Cedric, for his sake. After letting her mind wander that far, she tugs her thoughts back to the present. I also recall receiving your approval for that, father. What about it? It's all going to Prince Cedric. You could say it's become a public enterprise. Huh? Eileen is stunned. Smiling sardonically, Rudolph goes on. When you established the trading company, it was in both your own name and Prince Cedric's, wasn't it? The ability to produce medicine is the ability to produce poison, too. If the court tells us it should be under state control, we can't very well argue, can we? Yeah, so that's how it goes to Cedric. I was wondering about that. She arranged plans for distribution, prepared everything from trade routes to formulas for medicines, and the medical trials have already produced excellent results. In other words, he's just taking the profits? Eileen sounds aghast, and it makes Rudolph smile. Yep. If he's happy, you're not happy. Makes Rudolph smile cheerfully. It sounds as though Lady Lilia advised him that he mustn't leave all the responsibility to you. Apparently, Prince Cedric worked up some enthusiasm for it. By dabbling in commerce, he may acquire a feel for the flow of money and the common man's perspective all at the same time. That would be a fine thing, wouldn't it? No, that's just stealing. He's only taking the best parts. It was your fault, Eileen. He says the words mildly, but Eileen gasps and falls silent. Her father's eyes aren't smiling. Ordinarily, a unilaterally broken engagement is worthy of criticism, even if the other party is a member of the imperial family. However, given the current circumstances, our peers deem it only natural for the prince to break off the engagement. Consequently, we have been awarded no compensation for damages, and they've taken the capital we invested in the business as well. I apologize for my incompetence. Just like your mother, you have no eye for men, and on top of that, although you're adorable, you have no talent for courtship. Hey! You guys were the ones that set up the stupid engagement. That was not her doing. But yeah, no eye for men yet. Cedric is not good. His tone isn't critical at all. He's merely pointing out the facts, and it leaves her at a loss for words. As Eileen arrives in agony, Rudolph smiles happily. He knows it's a sign of his love, but she wishes he'd show a little self-restraint. Not only that, but there's more? Why, yes, indeed there is. Half glaring at him, she watches her father extract a single letter from a stack that's being held down by a paperweight. Its seal has already been broken. We received an invitation yesterday. It's for a soiree 2 months from now. A soiree? For me? Now? Soirees are group marriage interviews, places to look up for a future spouse. As someone whose engagement has just been broken, the normal thing would have been for Eileen to refrain from there for a time, while the hosts, reluctant to associate with a girl whose reputation is scandalous, would naturally stop inviting her. And what tactless fool sent this invitation? It's from Prince Cedric and Lady Lilia. She feels dizzy. Oh, there's a letter in there too, written by Lady Lilia herself. She says it's a secret, but they'll be announcing their engagement at the event as well, so she would like for you to attend. I've also been summoned. She's really something, this Lady Lilia. Yes, she truly is. I'd like to learn from her example. It sounds as though Prince Cedric is going to unveil a new policy at the soiree based on the business he took over from you. At the same time, he's ordered you to sign a written dissolution of your engagement in front of the assembly. In other words, she's supposed to be discarded by Cedric in public again. It would have been perfectly doable to sign a written dissolution of the engagement in private. He's going out of his way to make it a public event. He really wants to take me down a peg or two, doesn't he? Or does he genuinely think it's the correct thing to do since they're the victims? Victims. The possibility is so high that she can't even bring herself to laugh. He also wants you to sign an agreement transferring control of your part of the business. By showing humility in public, you'll apparently take the edge off your bad reputation. According to him, it's an act of mercy. Suppressing all her emotions currently bubbling up, Eileen exhales heavily. In other words, if I don't attend, I'll have rejected Prince Cedric's mercy, and if I do attend, he'll take over my business, and my engagement will be broken in public again. Either way, I'll be a fine laughingstock. Well, what will you do? Normally, refusing would be her only choice. As long as she sent her signature, the formalities could proceed without trouble and no time would be wasted. If instead of attending, she made a display of her grief, she might be able to attract sympathy from those around her. All that being said, I'll attend. When someone picks a fight with me, I accept the challenge and send it right back with interest. No point in being meek now, not after speaking so sharply earlier. Eileen smiles. Forget the sympathy. I'll go in swinging. Rudolph nods, looking satisfied. Very good. You're a daughter of the House of DxD, all right. If you tuck tail and run after they made such a fool out of you, I would have disowned you and tossed you into the seedier side of town or somewhere like that. Her father might actually do that while pretending to weep. As she responds, her cheeks tense. They may speak ill of you as well, father. There will be whispers that say you're lacking in common sense. That's fine. I'll listen to the many spiteful comments about you and then nod away as I apologize and mentally add their names to my list. I won't ask what kind of list that is, but as long as you don't mind, father, then I suppose... In that case, make sure you earn enough by the time the soiree is held to recoup the losses the House of DxD has sustained. He speaks as if it's nothing, and Eileen frowns. Please don't casually hoist outrageous demands upon me. By recoup, are you telling me to start a brand new enterprise? I'm not as brilliant as my brother's father. Moreover, in a scant 2 months? Figure it out yourself. A failed would-be empress who allows her reputation to remain in the mud is no daughter of mine. Her father smiles. His eyes are dead serious. A sudden chill runs down Eileen's spine. If she opts not to attend the soiree and fails to restore her honor and the honor of the family, her father might genuinely abandon her. Cedric is the crown prince, meaning Eileen has fallen out of favor with an individual who will someday be emperor. If she doesn't rally somehow, she'll simply become a burden on the House of DxD eventually. A daughter with a ruined reputation. If I recall, there was a game event that had me losing on my rank and status, although I only remember it vaguely. She finds some comfort in her hunch that she may have avoided tripping some sort of unfortunate flag just now. Besides, it isn't as if there's a way to fulfill her father's demand. At this point, the power of the DxD duchy is still hers to use. In any case, she'll need money if she's going to care for the Demon King. There's also the matter of Master Claude. I did sense some potential there. When there's a will, there's a way. She steeled herself. As a result, she felt she'll sleep well tonight. Later, in the dead of night, Eileen bolts up with a shriek. Attending the soiree was the trigger for being evicted. What is this? Why do these memories always come back too late? Is it divine harassment? Eileen howls at the pitch-black ceiling, but of course no kind god answers her. Oh, great. So she did trip the trigger. Great. Second act. The villainess is not cute, and so she does not cry. What page am I on? Okay. In the interval between the broken engagement and the ending, there were 2 major events that were related to Eileen's fate. One was the Demon King's Awakening event, which led directly to her own demise. The other was the soiree event in which Cedric publicly announced the dissolution of his engagement to Eileen and his new engagement to Lilia. Eileen the villainous, young noblewoman, refused to accept the broken engagement. In an attempt to prevent the announcement of Lilia and Cedric's betrothal, she hired some ne'er-do-wells and plotted to have Lilia kidnapped so that she wouldn't be able to attend the soiree. However, the plot was ultimately foiled in advance by a pseudo-love interest, which was how Marcus looked to Eileen. Unaware of this, and intent on winning Cedric back, Eileen attended the soiree only for Lilia to appear and accuse her, causing her to be disowned from the DxD family, stripped of her rank, and thrown into the streets. This is a development Eileen would dearly love to avoid. After all, she doesn't have the sort of abilities that would let her survive as a commoner. Unfortunately, her past self didn't have them either. That said, not attending the soiree is no longer an option. This morning when she tested her father by saying, "Perhaps I won't attend that soiree after all," he looked startled and asked, "Do you want to lose your rank?" He meant every word. Her father would definitely follow through and disown her. Failing to attend would yield the same results. That said, trying to prevent a kidnapping incident that someone else might perpetuate would involve getting close to Lilia, which would ironically look very much like a kidnapping attempt. No doubt she'd seen far too suspicious. In short, as things stand, she has no concrete way to avoid triggering the event. However, at the very least, I must take Master Claude to the soiree as my partner and make it obvious to everyone that I'm genuinely happy about the broken engagement. If she can do that much, then even if someone else kidnaps Lilia, Eileen won't be immediately implicated. Since there's no telling what might happen, she needs to make the move she's sure she can make. I cannot talk today. She also has to fulfill her father's request and recoup the losses. There's no time. I'll just have to work on both in tandem. And so, even though it's been only a day, Eileen is walking down a familiar path through the forest. She's wearing a tidy white dress and lace-up boots, carrying a rather large basket, and twirling a parasol. Even she feels she's the very picture of a perfect young noblewoman. The trouble is that she's been walking in circles for just about an hour. Could this be the barrier, perhaps? Untying the handkerchief she attached to a tree branch to mark her path earlier, Eileen closes her parasol. She looks up at the sky, but doesn't see a single shape in it. The dense canopy also seems somehow artificial. It was the same as the last time until the parasol palisade just before the forest, and yet, isn't anyone here? She looks around. The only response is unnaturally deep silence. As an experiment, she calls again. To think he's too frightened to show himself to me. The Demon King seems to be quite the coward. Nothing in the scenery changes. However, she feels a presence of sorts. They must be angry that she's insulted the Demon King. Am I the only one who can't see any of them? It was like this in the game too. The demons really are fond of him. It's likely that Claude has a soft spot for the demons as well. Eileen gives a modest sigh. Alright, I'll give up on seeing him today. However, someone is there, correct? Won't you come out? I brought a present as an apology. There's no response. However, vaguely she senses that her watchers are bewildered. Aina opens the lid of her basket, displaying its contents to the empty space. There are a large quantity of cookies in various flavors, like almond and chocolate. Thanks to the game, she knows that, surprisingly, demons are partial to human food. I made them myself. I don't know whether they'll suit your taste, but I hope you'll help yourself to them. And also, I meant to give this to one of the crows. She takes a small bow tie out of the basket's inner pocket. The silk ribbon is deep crimson, very smooth, and definitely not cheap. Ribbon in hand, Eileen smiles. I said as much yesterday, but the way the crows welcome guests reflects on the Demon King. As such, I'd like all the demons to be dignified as well. There are no visible changes in the scenery. Even so, the bemused atmosphere is palpable. Hence this accessory. Do you suppose the strongest of the crows, your leader, could wear it? It will serve as a mark of the Demon King's trusted gatekeeper. There is no answer. However, she feels as if she heard a voice say, Mark of the Gatekeeper. It's the same buoyant tone she heard from Beelzebub yesterday in response to her saying, right-hand man. Will no one come forth as a representative, or has the Demon King forbidden that as well? Human girl, hand it over. With a sudden rustle of wings, a crow flies out of empty space. They're somewhat larger than the rest. With eyes the same red color as Demon King's, this one had gone out of their way to carry a skull on their talons, which are far larger and sharper than they ordinarily be possible. That can't be but passes for fashion among demons, can it? Once the crow has landed on the ground, Eileen kneels to put herself on eye level with them. You are the strongest? That's right, the Demon King's gatekeeper. Girl, give me the proof. I'll put it on you, so turn the other way, would you? Your eyes are the same color as the Demon King's, I see. Same as the Demon King. The crow seems perfectly giddy. They spin around, turning their back to her. Eileen sets the open basket down right in front of them. If you'd like, you may sample any cookie that strikes your fancy. You have a good attitude, girl. Almond for me. Dexterously picking up a single almond cookie with the tip of their beak, they crunch into it. In the meantime, Eileen gently wraps the bow tie around their neck. Their down is fluffier than she expected and quite pleasant. Yum, yum. Girl, you bring good offerings. I'll allow it. My, how kind of you. You have lovely feathers, don't you? Because I am the strongest, girl. You have good eyes. Ugh. The crow flinches. A shudder runs through them, and then they flop over onto their side. The next moment, her vision opens up. In a twinkling, the bright track through the woods is transformed into the Demon King's gloomy forest. A murder of crows, essentially a group of okay, there are crows, okay. A murder of crows sits in the top of the dead trees just like yesterday. These are demons who resemble rats, and moles too. She's been completely surrounded. However, Eileen picks up the crow who is still trembling, all the way to the tips of their feathers. Holding them firmly, she puts the tip of the knife concealed in the end of her parasol to them and gives an elegant smile. Everyone stay where you are, please. What a foolish demon to think trusting a human. What decent human would say that? What did you do, girl? I laced the cookie with a numbing agent. Die, I'll kill you, girl. Dear me, do you wish to cause trouble for the Demon King? I belong to the House of D'Altrice. If I am killed by demons, it will worsen his position. Eileen smiles thinly. The crows caw at her raucously as if they are condemning her. The other demons look downright murderous as well. Apparently worried for their companion in her clutches, however, they don't attack. Paying them no heed, she raises her voice. Now then, Master Claude, if you wish to save this demon, present yourself. If you don't, I'll pluck its feathers one by one until it's bald. She's interrupted by a blast of wind. Hair as black as darkness, crimson eyes that gleam with a richer color than jewels glare down at her from midair. Sire, Demon King, the human girl betrayed us. The Demon King lightly descends to the ground and the demons cling to him. Eileen beams. Good day to you, Master Claude. His only response is silence. She's managed to draw out the person she was after, though, and that's enough. Would you heal this demon to recover naturally with time, but... Claude kneels in front of her, then gently he touches the paralyzed crow in her arms. The next instant, the crow's eyes fly open and they begin flapping their wings. Apparently the numbness is already gone. I'd expect no less of you. Eileen is impressed. The crow who has struggled free of her arms lands on Claude's shoulder and shrieks at her. You're dead, girl. I'll kill you, I swear. Oh, but we're even now, aren't we? How so? Rising to his feet, Claude directs that brief question at her. Eileen smiles at him. I haven't forgotten, you know. The way the crow surrounded me and heaped abuse on me. Although Claude's expression has been cold as ice, faint uncertainty flickers through it. Dusting herself off, Eileen moves to stand directly in front of him. If that makes you feel beholden to me, train your crows properly in the first place. Isn't that right, little crow I just deceived? Kill. Let's make up. As an apology, I'll give you a chocolate cookie. You can't fool me. No more fooling me. It's all right. Only the almond kind have the numbing agent mixed in them. As proof, you can watch me eat half. Eileen takes out a chocolate cookie, then bites into it with a light crunch. The crow with the bow tie stares at her until she's swallowed. You see? It's all right. Come now, let's be friends again, shall we? She holds out the half-eaten cookie. They glare with their right eyes from Eileen to Claude and back. With a sigh, Claude takes the cookie from Eileen and then has a bite. Eileen wasn't expecting this development as she blinks. His expression cool, Claude swallows and offers the remaining morsel to the demon on his shoulder. It's fine to eat. Immediately the crow latches onto the cookie. Yum, chocolate is good. Demon King? The surrounding demons began to stir restlessly. Claude looks at Eileen. Everything but the almond kind is safe, he said. Yes. But whatever shall I do? This really isn't the place for... What do you mean? Don't tell me you did something to the chocolate cookies as well. Yes, I'd hope to put... Oh, no. Why are you saying this? It is so freaking awkward. In the mood, Master Claude, so I added an aphrodisiac that only affects men. Why would you say that? You're only gonna annoy him. Okay, I think I'm gonna give up on going over there today. As Eileen responds brightly, lightning strikes behind her. There's something wrong with you. Claude looks haggard. Eileen tips her head dubiously. Do you think so? I'd based that plan on the assumption that you had a strong sense of responsibility, Master Claude. Responsibility for what? Gracious, you actually made me say it? Keith, who served them black tea, abruptly bursts out laughing as he just can't take it anymore. Claude glares at him. What exactly is funny about this, Keith? Well, I mean, a young lady who'd take a demon hostage, threatened the Demon King, then dosed him with a love potion. That's quite a gift she's got. You flatter me, Master Keith. She takes a sip of the tea he's prepared for her, then sets the cup down in its saucer. They're currently in the parlor where Eileen awakened the previous day. Claude insisted that she go home at first, but she adamantly refused, and they finally reached a compromise leading to the current sit-down. The fact that this is the only room they can host guests in is problematic, but the tea she's been given is good, and the sofa she's seated on is quite comfortable. Keith, who's convulsing in laughter, must have arranged for them. It is a pity, though, to think that aphrodisiacs don't affect Master Claude, as if such an insolent scheme would work on the king. Beelzebub sounds oddly proud. Smiling wryly, Keith supplements his answer. There have been all sorts of attempts to poison Master Claude. He's built up a tolerance, and potions tend not to work on him. And to be frank, he's the Demon King after all. My, in that case, even if I use a stronger dose, it wouldn't work? I will never eat anything you bring me again. Then I'll think of some other method. You don't have to, but I'm running out of time. Putting a hand to her cheek, Eileen gives an anxious sigh. Are you going to inquire about my reasons? I don't want to know. Duly noted. The truth is, I'll be attending a soiree in 2 months' time. Wasn't that preamble about whether I was going to ask really necessary? And I would truly love to have you attend as my escort, Master Claude, so knowing is mandatory, I see. But why would that require an aphrodisiac? If I'd simply asked you, would you have agreed? When she asks him that, her eyes round, Claude's face goes blank. He bursts out laughing, holding his sides. So you thought you'd established a fait accompli for... Oh, what the heck is that? I gotta look that up later. Oh, yes, I see. You see? Huh, girl, if you wish to attract the king's attention... Really? The king's attention, then strip naked and demonstrate your intent to submit. His Majesty is kind, I'm sure he would take pity on you. Claude, who is seated in an armchair, freezes up. Beelzebub's eyes are serious. For just a moment, Eileen's expression turns sober. However, she promptly recovers her smile, then places a hand over her chest. If that is what... Oh, no, he's gonna tell her no. If that is what you wish, Master Claude. I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh at this. It's just so freaking awkward. It isn't. Be silent, Belle, and don't you dare disrobe. Then will you attend the soiree with me? Claude holds his head. Keith speaks up. He's laughed so much that he's wheezing. Sorry, well, really, why not? I'll do my very best to help you get ready. My, thank you very much, Pastor Keith. Wait, don't act as if the matter's been settled. I haven't said I'm going. We will not allow you to force something the king does not want on him, humans. Beelzebub takes a step forward as if to shield Claude. A human soiree? I'll destroy the whole pointless thing, venue it all. Master Beelzebub, you don't understand in the slightest. What? Belle, she's going to trap you. I can see it coming. Don't. Don't you want to show the world Master Claude's splendor? Beelzebub's eyes widen just as she predicted. Claude puts a hand to his face. Watching him out of the corner of her eye, Eileen smoothly continues her negotiation. Master Claude is splendid, is he not? Of course, the king is magnificent. Then he simply must attend the soiree. He cannot truly be an object of awe unless he reveals himself to the humans. Your Demon King will shine. The king will shine? Beelzebub darts a surreptitious glance at Claude, torn. If the king, his people, love, and respect were to be venerated and revered by all, of course he'd be happy about it. Consequently, Claude can't casually dash the demon's hopes. Will you escort me, Master Claude? In the first place, I am the Demon King. I would never be able to attend the normal way. Someone is bound to interfere before I reach the venue. It's tiresome. Master Claude, did you not hear what I said yesterday? I distinctly remember telling you that I would be keeping you like a pet. Why would you bring that up again? That is going to demean him and make him feel angry. Keith cracks up yet again while Claude's expression goes beyond a grimace and reverts to a blank slate. I had decided to ignore it. Then let me tell you once more. You will be mine. In other words, you are the fiancé of the daughter of the House of d'Autriche. To begin with, let me point out that the fiancé premise is incorrect. What I am saying is that I will be with you. You may simply walk straight in boldly through the main entrance. What does it matter if you are the Demon King? I will bear all responsibility. As Eileen confidently volunteers, Claude watches her with an indescribable expression. Do you have any other concerns? When she arbitrarily moves the conversation along, Claude recrosses his legs, looking away slightly. You will damage your position if the court thinks you are consorting with demons. My, oh my, oh my. Are you worried for me, Master Claude? Clapping her hands in front of her bosom. Really, why'd you have to say that? Eileen leans in closer until she's right in his face. Startled, Claude draws back, but unfortunately for him, he's still sitting down, so the distance between them doesn't change. Have no fear. At the moment, my reputation couldn't be worse. People can't possibly hate me more or give me a wider berth than they are already doing, so there's no need to worry. Who says that about themselves so confidently? You see, in any case, this soiree is being held to mock me. I must publicly consent to having my engagement broken, humbly hand over complete control of the trading company I established, and congratulate Prince Cedric and Lady Lilia on their betrothal. In doing so, supposedly earns Prince Cedric's forgiveness. Personally, I'm still not convinced whether my behavior was so bad that it merits all that penance. She gives a smile that doesn't go past her lips. Claude responds with silence. Beelzebub snorts. Everything humans do is truly petty. Yeah, he's not wrong. And that is where Master Claude comes in, Master Beelzebub. When Eileen abruptly calls his name, Beelzebub twitches and pulls away slightly. A man who will give people no choice but to fall silent, even if he is standing by my side as I am now. Who but Master Claude is so perfect in appearance, title, and every other way? I see. Don't give me that. Enough of this, I will not attend. At his unexpectedly firm tone, Eileen falls silent. Although Beelzebub has been muttering to himself as Keith has continued laughing uncontrollably, they've both gone quiet in the next moment. Claude rises from his armchair without a second, his eyes fixed on Eileen. Miss D'Altrice, I must ask you to leave. I won't see you off. Walk home on your own. And if I refuse? The debate ends. So the support of the House of D'Altrice would be nothing but trouble. I expect that's what he means. True, Claude probably doesn't need the authority nor financial clout of the D'Altrice duchy. After all, he is the Demon King. He can get anything he wants, if he ever felt like it. The fact that he hasn't only means he doesn't want to. Then what does he want? In the game, I seem to recall that he was drawn to Lilia because she treated him like an ordinary human. However, Lilia was the maid of the Sacred Sword and completely incompatible with demons, so how did their relationship form in the game? Come to think of it, she still hasn't remembered yet. And that's when it happened. Demon King! A lost child! Although Claude is already halfway out of the room, the voice that darts in from the terrace stops him. As he turns, the terrace door opens and a crow with a bow tie flies in. However, the moment they see Eileen, they look frightened. You're still here. Gracious, mind your tongue, Almond. What? I'm not an almond. It's your name. More accurately, it's Crow that ate the almond cookie and got paralyzed. They fixed her with an angry glare. However, Claude stepped past Eileen and holds out a hand. Never mind her. What happened? No sign of coming back. A young Fenrir has left the forest. After venturing beyond the barrier? On hearing Claude's murmur, Eileen turns to Keith. Left the forest, as in the forest surrounding the castle? That's right. Remember how there's a palisade before you got into the forest? Master Claude casts a barrier along that and watches whenever humans enter or leave. To protect the demons from the humans, you see. In order to ensure the non-aggression pact is thoroughly observed. Your Prime Minister D'Altrice's daughter, all right, so you knew about it? When Claude was banished to the abandoned castle, he exchanged a pledge with the Emperor. He would not allow the demons to attack humans. In exchange, humans would not attack the demons. By concluding that treaty and agreeing to surrender his right to inherit the throne, Claude secured a land of peace in the form of this castle and the forest surrounding it. At only 10 years of age. Wow. That was a while ago. He had successfully negotiated a treaty with the Emperor. That alone was enough to show that he was an intelligent individual. But was that truly what you wanted? Eileen can't bring herself to think that things can be splendid if they require sacrifice to gain. Life is splendid when one wins absolutely everything. So the young Fenrir went in the direction of the Eastern Second Layer, Eastern Second Layer? Isn't that where the Holy Knights' training grounds and the academy are located? Alucado, the imperial capital, spreads out like a fan, with the royal castle at its focal point, and is divided into 5 layers. Generally speaking, the first layer is a residential district where the nobility lives, while the second holds government offices, banks, and other public facilities. The third is the commercial district, and the fourth is a residential district for the common people. The fifth holds everything else, including the slums where the very poorest live. The red light district is there, and public safety is bad. In any case, that's the general layout. Ooh. This abandoned castle and its forest are located behind the royal castle, and they fit together with the fan shape to make a complete circle. The walls and gates between the layers don't block the forest, so it's possible to enter or leave it from the ends of any layer. Depending on the place, there might be palisades or walls nominally barring the way, and there are signs that warn against entering the forest. But there are also brooks and geographical issues that make it impossible to completely seal all the ways into the forest. What a place to go. The residents of the 5th layer would overlook a young demon as long as there were no noticeable incidents, but that's a tricky spot, and the people of the 2nd layer are bound to make a fuss about this. Can't Master Claude just whisk it home by magic? I must be able to see someone in order to transport them. As Eileen nods in understanding, Beelzebub spreads his wings. They're black and look as if cloth has been stretched across their bones. I'll begin searching. Hold on. If the humans see you, Beelzebub, the uproar will only get worse. I'll go. You can't go either, Master Claude. Your black hair, red eyes, and pointlessly handsome face will stand out far too much. You're surprisingly famous, Demon King. But then we won't have enough people out looking. We don't even know where in the second layer to search. As she listens to them, Eileen abruptly remembers something. Come to think of it, wasn't there an event where a demon appeared at the academy? Yes, it was in Marcus's route, if I recall. Lady Lilia used her powers as the Maid of the Sacred Sword and helped Marcus defeat it, which means we have to hurry. She has a feeling the demon involved in the event wasn't a young one, so this may only be a coincidence, but being defeated means death. That's far too harsh a penalty for merely getting lost, demon or not. Claude, who's been standing still with his eyes closed, opens them. Apparently, he's used magic. There's no commotion at the academy or among the Holy Knights yet. Let's find it while we have the chance, then. I'll help search the academy. Eileen has raised her hand and everyone turns their gaze toward her. It won't look all that unnatural if I wander about the academy grounds. I'm familiar with the layout, too. Go to the Holy Knights facility first if you would, Master Keith. Huh? Well, that would be great help, but are you a fool, girl? You will be torn to pieces. Child or not, a Fenrir is still a Fenrir. Beelzebub scoffs at her. She tilts her head, looking perplexed. That's true of Master Keith as well, is it not? That child knows Keith and will trust him. In that case, lend me an item of Master Claude's clothing. If it's a magical beast, I'll be able to use the scent to persuade it that I've come to find it because he wished me to, won't I? Yeah, that would make sense. Since no one objects, she assumes her plan is a good one. Smiling, Eileen reaches for the tie Claude wears around his neck. With a soft rustle, the silk comes undone. Allow me to borrow this. She winds the tie around her own wrist. Master Claude, will you be able to track my movements? When I find it, I shall take it to the spot where he won't be seen, so it will be wonderful if you come to fetch it properly. I can, but... No, wait. In the first place, we don't need your help. Never fear, I won't blackmail you into attending the soiree if I find it. Then why? You have no reason to help us. Eileen finds the very question rather appalling. What are you saying? It's lost, the poor thing. Of course, I do intend to put you in my debt and get you to attend the soiree, but... You do you? Yes, I do. However, first of all, I'd like to make your wish come true. Claude looks like he's been caught like if she's caught him off guard, she gets it straight at him. In any case, it's only natural for the wife of the Demon King to go to a demon's rescue, correct? No, wait a minute. Why did you just casually slip wife in there? Come, Master Claude, don't trouble yourself over trivialities. Send me to the academy if you would. Trivialities isn't the word I would use. Humans are fault finders by nature. If they find it, they may kill it. Hurry. When she presses them a little, Beelzebub goes pale and Claude's face turns serious. Eileen has held at her hand. Claude closes his eyes briefly. Then, as if he's made up his mind, he takes it. Then I'll leave it to you. In that husky request, Eileen looks up startled, but all she sees is the academy's familiar rear garden. The place is lush, green, and deserted. As she peers around, Eileen smiles. Then I'll leave it to you, he says. It really is nice to be relied upon. That feeling has tripped her up before, so she doesn't expect anything from it now, but she does want to save the lost young demon. I cannot talk. Hang on, let me check. Dang it. There. Oh, shit. I didn't realize. See you.